What's up YouTube, this is Demkeys back again with another Unity tutorial. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a sort of shooting mechanism similar to Angry Birds. Now I don't claim that this is exactly how it works. I actually don't know how they program theirs, uh, but this is something similar to that and maybe you can build off of this. It might be helpful for you. I'd like to give a big thanks to my friend Amin Al-Tajir for giving me this idea because I could not think of what I should make a tutorial on next. He gave me this excellent idea and he gave me a little tip to get started off with it as well. I have mentioned uh, I've given a link to his Twitter account in the description below, so follow him. Let's get started. Oh, okay. Uh, I should tell you it's the coding. I might not explain it that well. Please, if you have any doubts at all, feel free to ask me. I would be more than happy to help you out. So yeah, let's get started. Now, I have created a background, which is a quad, and another quad, which is the ground, and I've added a box collider to it and a black color material. So this is what our player and the other objects are going to stand on. The player won't actually be yeah, at one point the player will stand. So let's create the player. Alright, now I am going to set the gravity scale to 0 because initially I want the player to be in the air. If I set the gravity scale to 1, that means the player is actually affected by gravity, which means when I play the game, oh crap, I don't have a box collider, shit. Just a minute. Yeah, so when I start the game, the player is going to fall to the ground because he is being affected by gravity. So if I make the gravity scale 0, our player will be in the air. Okay, now let's create the, you can say, bricks that um, that we'll be hitting or shooting at. Okay, I'm going to add a black material to it and I'm going to leave it as it is. It needs a rigid body 2D component and a box collider 2D. I will add a physics material 2D later. You'll find out why. I'll be adding that to all of the brick objects. So for now I'm gonna make a couple of copies. Okay, now I think we can move on to the script. Am I missing something? No, I think we can move on to the script. Let's call this move script. Alright, I'm not going to explain this as I go because it might be hard for me to concentrate on the coding. Or you know what, no, let me give it a try. Let's start by creating the move speed variable. It's going to be a public float. And what else do we need? We need jump height. We'll need dampen force. Oh yes, before dampen force we'll need short force. Short force is going to be the force that is applied along the x-axis. I call it shoot force. Um, I should actually name jump height as y force and shoot force as x force. So that'll be easier for you guys to understand. No need to call it jump height. Y force and x force. Okay. Now first we need to oh sorry, yeah, first we need to get our player's controls right, just so it can move left and right. Let me see if I've done this right or no. It's going slow. Is it because of time.delta time? Yep. Okay. So now we can move on. What next? Yes. Okay, how this mechanism is going to work is, well, in Angry Birds you can I'm not sure if you can use spacebar in that or not, but I do know about the mouse pulling thing. It's like a slingshot. You click on it and drag, and the more you pull back, the more the force will build up. So I'm going to show you how to generate force based on how long the spacebar is pressed. I'm not going to use a mouse in this, but you can do your research and you can use the same thing with a mouse as well. Okay, I'm here. We are going to create an if statement. If input dot get key, not get key down, because we actually want to increase the force as long as the spacebar is pressed. So keycode dot space x force. Yep, x force equals, no, sorry, x force plus equals, how much should it increase by? Let's say 5.0 for now. And okay, so now we have created an if statement that is going to increase the force. It's going to increase the value of x force by 5 each time, no, for as long as you keep your finger on the spacebar. Now what we want is that as soon as spacebar is released, the player will be shot forward, or whatever object it is, it's going to be shot forward. So for that, we can use input.getKeyUp keycode.space, and yes, rigid body 2D dot add force, new vector 2, and here in the x coordinates we are going to put x force, and in y for now we'll put 0, just so I can show you that it's working. And right after this is executed, we want x force to go back to 0. Also, as soon as the spacebar is released, we want to make the gravity scale 1, because currently we have made it 0. What will happen by doing that is when you shoot the player forward, it will actually fall down. Otherwise, if you shoot it forward without gravity, it's just going to float in the air. It'll shoot forward, but I don't think it'll fall down. So we'll type rigid body 2D dot gravity scale equals 1. Now let's see if this works. Okay, I seem to have an error over here. X force. Oh, my bad. X force equals 0F. By the way, for those of you that don't know, plus equals means, okay, this entire statement basically means X force equals to X force plus 5.0F. So this statement and this statement are both the same. They have no difference. Okay, so now I'm going to run the game and see whether it works. You can see X force building up over here. You can pay attention to this. Watch. See that? Now I'm going to release the spacebar and it shoots forward. Oh, damn. Okay. I don't think any of the bricks have gravity affecting them. I need to fix that. Just a minute. That was kind of funny. Yep, they all have their gravity scale set to 0. Now let's try it. Okay. I'm gonna let it charge for some time. There. So now we know how to charge it up and shoot it out as soon as the spacebar is released. Now let's work on the rotation. Okay, I tried to make this as similar to the Angry Birds game mechanics as I could, but it's very buggy. It's a very basic logic. It doesn't have proper validations and it might very well have bugs. So don't think of this as a final logic or as a final code. You can definitely improve on this. You should improve on this. So this is just to explain to you how the mechanism works. Maybe by looking at this mechanism you might get your own idea and you might be able to program something better than this. Definitely. So yeah. Okay, so we were going to work on the rotation. Now first we need to rotate the object, and then we'll work on what forces are affecting it. You know what, before that, no, let's just go with this. Input dot get key down. No, I think it should be get key. We are going to use the Q and E keys to rotate the object left and right. Transform dot rotate. This is a method that's going to rotate the object in whatever to whatever, sorry, well, it's going to rotate the object however I tell it to. What should I set here? Okay, yes, vector 3 should be 0 along the x, 0 along the y. In 2D space, the rotation is done mostly along the x-axis. Only then does it look like it has been rotated properly. If you try to rotate it along the y or x-axis, you'll get unusual results. So you're supposed to rotate it along the z-axis. Let's try rotating by 25f and see if it's too much or too less. I'm going to create one more if statement that will be for E. I think this value should be minus. I actually haven't understood why, if I'm rotating it wait, just a minute, let me run the game and see if it's going the way I want it. Yep, I'm pressing E, so instead of rotating right, it's rotating left. That is because I have set the values like this. Now I'm really not sure how these values work when you talk about rotation, but when I do, I'll let you know. For now, I'm just gonna go with it. There. So we can now rotate the object. I think I'll increase the speed a little bit, say 30. Yep, that's good. Now we have a problem. I'm able to shoot this object. Okay, I charge it up first and then shoot. But notice, even after I rotate the object, it still shoots in the same direction, like so. See, we don't want that. We actually want the object to go up to a certain height or at a certain angle. We want the player to be shot out in whatever angle we are setting our player in, or this imaginary gun. Just imagine a gun, and we are setting it at a certain angle, and we want our player to be fired in that angle. We don't want the player to be shot out straight if we have kept the gun tilted. So the best method that I could find to achieve this is to add jump height, or in this case Y force. Now Y force is going to increase and decrease as you rotate the object. See, the way I see it is, if you rotate the object towards let's say you're trying to rotate the cannon or gun or whatever towards the sky, facing the sky, so you would want your jump height to be more in that case. And if it's more towards I'm not very good with degrees, so just a minute, let me show it like this. Now watch the rotation. If my object is facing like this, it's facing towards the sky, so I would want the height to be more when I fire the projectile or this player, and when my object is like this, I would want it to have less height or even no height. So when I fire, it's going to go straight and hit the bricks. So what we can do is, whenever the object rotates, we can change the value of y force. We can increase it by, say, 2f. You'll have to experiment with these values to see what works best for you. So whenever we press Q and the object rotates towards the left, it's starting to face towards the sky, and the more it's facing towards the sky, the more it approaches that angle. We want the y force to be that high, or we want it to increase the more the angle increases. And when the player presses E, as the object starts to come down and or face down, we want y force to decrease. So that's why I'm using y force minus equals 2f over here and plus equals 2f over here. And I've already made this change over here for the rigid body 2d dot add force. Now let's test this out and see if it works. Okay, nope, it's not working. Okay, the problem here is, although it shows you 0, I've not given any value over here, so maybe it doesn't have anything to add to or subtract from. That's why it's showing this weird behavior. Let's see if it works now. No. Oh damn, my bad. I think I was looking at X force earlier and telling you that it's having weird behavior. Sorry about that. Let me see if it's working now. Yep, sorry about that. I did not realize I was looking at X force. Yeah, so it's fine. Now what's going to happen is, when I press the spacebar, X force is going to build up, and well, I need to increase Y force more because just this much is not enough. Let's increment it by 4. I think 4 might become too much, but let's see if that works. Okay, fair enough. Well, I missed the bricks, but you can see it works. Now, notice one more thing. It is going up, but it still doesn't look so much like we would want it to look. I mean, it doesn't look a lot like the Angry Birds shooting mechanism. It does charge up, it does fire up, but the angle is kind of messed up. So what we are going to do is, we'll add a sort of dampening force, which is why I've created this variable, dampen force. You can name it whatever you want. I just named it that because that made sense to me. So what we are going to do is, we will just a minute. Yep, what we are going to do is, we will increase dampen force by, let's say, 0.5. I think 0.5 is less. I don't know. Let's see. We'll test it. We'll increase dampen force by 0.5 F when the player is pressing Q, that is rotating it towards the left. So basically the gun is starting to face towards the sky and it's doing that more and more and more, so the dampen force increases. And when the player starts to press E, then the dampen force will decrease by 0.5. Now let me tell you what dampen force is going to do. The value of dampen force will be subtracted from X force. So for example, if dampen force is 600 and 600 is too much. Say dampen force is 400 and we charge up our ball or our player to up to 1000 in X force. Now 400 minus 1000, or say 1000 minus 400 would be 600. So the X force is actually going to be 600. The force applied along the X axis will only be 600. The jump height is not affected, but what will happen in this case is the speed won't be so much. Sorry about that. Oh, just a minute. Let me put my phone on silent. Okay, sorry about that. Where was I? Yeah. So how that will help is our X force won't be so much. So when the player is actually shot forward, he won't go that far, but he's going to go high enough, and so it will. You'll see what will happen. I cannot explain it that well. Now notice dampen force as I start to turn towards the left. See that? Oh damn, this is not enough. Just a minute. I will set this to 1. 1 is also less. Let's say 2. Okay, so as I'm rotating the object towards the left, you can notice dampen force over here. Its value is already 278. Now to show you that it actually decreases, I'm going to rotate back and you can see the value is decreasing. I'm going to take it back there because I have to demonstrate this shot. Now Y force, which is going to be our jump height, is 564. Now let's charge up our projectile up to say 600. No, 800. Oh, I need to increase these values. Let's set it to 4. Let's see if it works now. Seems high enough. See that? Well, again, it did not hit the bricks, but you get the point. You see how the mechanism works. You know what, before I stop recording, let me see if I can actually get this shot right. Awesome. Okay, now to make the bricks look a little more loose and bouncy, we can add a physics 2D material to it. I'm not going to name it anything special. I will, however, change the bounciness to 0.4 and I will apply this to all the bricks and our player. Now let's see how that affects our gameplay. Sorry, I need to look at the values. I told you this system is very buggy. You need to build up on this. You need to add validations. You need to polish the thing entirely before you can use it. But it's a basic point to start off. Yeah, now that I can see the values, I can calculate it properly. Hmm. Maybe I can add more bounciness. Let's say 0.8. That's a lot though. Well, yeah, I told you it's a lot, but it looks good now. It looks kiddish, but it looks good. So anyways, this was the Angry Birds shooting mechanism. Again, I don't claim that this is exactly how they did it, but this is something similar to it. I hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.